Hey there, my favorite Rainbow Warrior patrons. Welcome back to another Patreon exclusive episode just for you. Oh my God, our backyard fence is finally done. And we have a black lab and a big German Shepherd puppy that are so happy about it. They ran and played for a good part of the evening after we were done. My 13-year-old 4-pound Maltese Chihuahua mix, Nilla, she could care less. But the big dogs, they were loving it, especially the German Shepherd puppy named Doggy. I sure hope this episode finds you well. I'm getting ready for the True Crime Paranormal Festival in Austin next month. Although, to be honest, I've been having conflicting feelings about going. I just mentioned my doggy Nilla. I'm a little worried about leaving her. I know it's only for a few days. But she's not been eating much lately, and she seems to be slowing down a little more. She also has to take pills twice a day for her heart. It's not that I don't trust my daughter and her boyfriend to take good care of her, but I'm worried. What if she passes while I'm gone? I'd be mortified. Here I am off having a good time, and my poor Nilla. I don't know. I hate to think like this. But I just bought my plane ticket and I'm going to have to trust that all will be okay. Anyway, besides the backyard fence, that's been a big stressor for me lately. I took the liberty of saddling up everyone's unicorns for our ride today. I'm really wanting to go back to the beach. I need that soul-cleansing sound I get when I hear the waves hit the sand. So if you're ready, get on your unicorns and ride! Lead the way, Sparkle Farts. I don't know about you guys, but I truly dislike the term ex-gay. Mike Pence, the former Orange Dude's vice president, he claims he's an ex-gay. Some who have gone to conversion pray the gay away camps and married someone of the opposite sex, they claim to be ex-gays. How? How does someone do that? One day you're gay and the next you're not? Is that the same for someone who came out as gay? One day they're straight and the next they're not? I knew in junior high I was attracted to other girls. But I dabbled in sexual exploration with boys through my teen years and into my 20s. I was always drunk, though. Conjuring up the memories of being with those boys, it would make me throw up. Except with my one serious boy relationship that lasted about 10 months. Then I found out as an adult after he passed away, he came out as gay too. He was honestly the only boy that didn't make me nauseated to think about sex with. So I ask again, how do you become an ex-gay? Would I be considered an ex-hetero? I think it'd be like trying to get rid of a full body tattoo. No matter what you do to try to camouflage it, it's always there. Tyler Deaton was from Robstown, Texas, near Corpus Christi. As a young teen, he knew he was attracted to other boys. He knew he was gay. He was raised in a Presbyterian household, and he also knew his faith felt that gay was a sin. Tyler felt being gay was a choice. So he fought hard against his homosexual desires so that God would love him and continue to accept him. Silly boy. For those who believe in God, we know God doesn't make mistakes and he made everyone in his likeness, right? Tyler looked and acted like a golden child. He was tall, handsome, and charming. Many of his friends aspired to be just like him. But inside, no one could see his inner turmoil with his sexual identity. By the age of 18 or 19, Tyler was a freshman at Southwestern University in Texas. That's a private college just outside of Austin. In a further effort to no longer be gay, Tyler started to date an adorable girl his age named Bethany. Bethany was a petite young woman. She had raven-colored hair, big blue eyes, and dimples when she smiled. The young couple met at their prayer group at Southwestern University. Bethany, who was a Libra, was born October 15, 1985. She was from San Antonio, Texas. Her family were devout Christians. She was a bit of a bookworm, a dreamer, and she had the heart of a romantic. After she met Tyler, she'd write one of her friends long letters about how handsome he was, what a great guy, and how in love she was with him, along with her dreams for their future. Bethany was very intelligent also. She earned a full scholarship to study at Southwestern University. The prayer gathering was a tight-knit group of young people who became even closer due to their religious faith. The group also bonded over their love for fantasy adventure books and movies, like Chronicles of Narnia, Lord of the Rings, and Harry Potter. One of the biggest attractions to these fantasy stories was to be part of a secret culture of power and knowledge. The members of this prayer group kind of felt like they were their own secret culture. In 2007, Tyler went on a missionary retreat with his church in Pakistan. While awaiting a viewing of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Tyler believed God spoke to him. You know how I fucking hate when people think God has time to speak to them individually. Well, Tyler believed God told him to start his own religious group. Then in December of 2007, Tyler attended a conference for IHOP. Not the Pancake House. 'Cause if it was the Pancake House, that'd be a hell of a fun conference. No, this IHOP stands for International House of Prayer, and it was started in Grandview, Missouri. The one Tyler attended was in Kansas City, Missouri. International House of Prayer is a fundamentalist Christian group. From past episodes, we learned that Christian fundamentalists, they don't like anything that betrays traditional family values. LGBTQ, interracial coupling, Jews, and liberal ways of thinking. All of that goes against their belief system. But after the conference he attended for IHOP, Tyler felt he was now ready to officially lead his prayer group of Southwestern University. By early 2008, the group he called the Community was about 20 members strong. One of the members was a young man named Micah Moore. Bethany had met Micah in her English class, and while the other students thought Micah was a weirdo, Bethany saw Micah as a lost soul needing guidance, and she introduced Micah to the Community. He found a new family within this group. Micah would sometimes speak in tongues, saying that both God and demons were communicating through him. In November of 2008, Micah told the Community he had a premonition that tragedy was going to strike Southwestern University. That following month, a student was struck and killed by a car. While the student's family and friends mourned him, the Community, under Tyler's leadership, rejoiced at the student's passing. The student who died often came to blows against Tyler's group's philosophy and beliefs, so the group looked at the student as an enemy, and his passing was for the betterment of the community. This is when they adapted the us against them attitude. Within a couple of years, the community became closer than ever under the helm of Tyler. The other group members looked up to him. Using his mystical powers of manipulation accompanied with his mesmerizing charm, it didn't take long for Tyler to convince most of his group at Southwestern University, and his beard Bethany, to follow him to Kansas City. He said they were going on a new spiritual journey under the umbrella of IHOP. Now, did you get what I said? They followed him. He has a following at this point. Right there, warriors. We have the making of not just a leader, but of a cult leader. If a member of the community did or said something that was disdainful to Tyler, like maybe they were flirting with each other or going on a date or something, Tyler would have the others shun them, and he'd give them the silent treatment until they learned their lesson. But when IHOP learned of Tyler's shunning punishment, they were not pleased by this, and they told him to stop. Tyler found other punishments, like making members eat their meals on the floor like an animal. Tyler began to tell members of the community what they could wear, when they could eat, who they could hook up with, and they followed him like lambs to the slaughterhouse. Bethany took classes in 2011 to become a registered nurse. She crossed state lines over into Kansas from Missouri for their nursing program. But it wasn't as though Tyler really missed her. They only dated on Tuesday and Friday nights anyhow. And truly, the most fun that they ever had on those dates was baking together. It was something they both really enjoyed doing. It seemed as though Bethany was changing somehow. She was once a vibrant, happy young woman, but she was losing the luster that used to shine through her big blue eyes. She was often depressed and robotic in her actions. These feelings caused her to seek out a therapist for help. All the while, Tyler continued to have inner battles with his sexual identity. And finally, in 2012, he was so tired of the war between his urges and faith, after several years of being together, he married Bethany, although the couple wouldn't even kiss until their engagement, nor would they ever show any public displays of affection. A lot of people thought that the couple's relationship was just a stage show. However, Tyler was convinced that marrying Bethany would cure him of any homosexual urges he had. Their honeymoon was 3 weeks long in Costa Rica. Tyler was never able to get it up to have sex with his new wife. So the couple returned home, with Bethany unsatisfied by her new husband and very disillusioned by the dream she once had of being Mrs. Tyler Deaton. As for Tyler, he jumped right back into putting his focus on the community. So here's the tricky part of the community that Tyler brought with him from Texas to Kansas City, Missouri. While the group was part of the International House of Prayer, they were also splintered off from it and becoming their own entity under Tyler's leadership. He used IHOP's framing, and he made up some of his own rules along the way. From here on out, I will most likely be using the words alleged and allegedly a lot, only because even though law enforcement is sure Tyler has committed crimes, the evidence they have does not prove it. Okay, so here we go. Allegedly, Tyler would have sex with some of his male followers as a test of their faith. It's also been alleged Tyler would drug Bethany and allow members of his little cult to have sex with her. Several months into their marriage, in October of 2012, Tyler allegedly told Micah Moore to kill Bethany and make it look like a suicide. Apparently, Tyler was in fear Bethany might remember things that happened in the community and then tell her therapist what he was doing. On October 30th, 2012, Bethany was found dead in her van in a remote area at a park near a lake. She had a white plastic garbage bag with the red cinch straps tied off under her chin. Beside Bethany lay 2 bottles of 200-count Tylenol PM. One was empty and one was full. There was also a suicide note that read, "My name is Bethany Deaton. I chose this evil thing. I did it because I wouldn't be a real person. And what is the point of living if it's too late for that? I wish I had chosen differently a long time ago. I knew it all and refused to listen. Maybe Jesus will still save me." Police investigators initially thought this was a simple case of suicide. IHOP members began to have suspicions of Tyler's ability to lead the young people he'd brought with him from Texas. Members of the community were brought before the IHOP leaders, and they were told that there were demons in them, and then they were interrogated about their sexuality, as an exorcism was performed on the community members. The exorcism lasted for hours and included screaming, shaking, falling on the floor, and speaking in tongues. It was after this display something in Micah Moore snapped. Nearly 2 weeks after Bethany's death, Micah Moore, who was 23 years old at the time, turned himself over to the Kansas City police. He stated he had murdered Bethany Deaton at the request of her husband, Tyler Deaton. Micah said Bethany would be drugged and passed around the prayer group for sex, and the group was afraid she would tell someone, so Tyler ordered him to kill her and then make it look like a suicide. With the accusations, IHOP immediately removed Tyler and his group from being an active part of their religious affiliation. After Micah's confession, his attorney said his confession was completely fabricated and false. She said Micah was distraught, and he was under great duress from his friend Bethany's death, as well as the removal of his spiritual leader, Tyler. But after Micah's confession, law enforcement officially removed the suicide determination to that of homicide. Micah said he had filmed the sex acts on Bethany with his iPad, and that there were poems written about the acts. But Micah never did state who wrote the suicide note claiming to be Bethany, and the iPad in question was either never checked into or it just never materialized. So with nothing really more than Micah's confession, he was charged with first-degree murder, and Tyler was never indicted, even though police believed he was a reason for Bethany's death. The prosecution ended up dropping their case against Micah because they found much of what was in his confession seemed to be made up due to a psychotic episode, or at least that's what they chalked it up to. In an interview, Tyler laughed and said he did not murder his wife. And while there's been no justice for Bethany, Tyler's not having the last laugh. He moved back to Texas. He got a job as a teacher at Lancaster High School in Lancaster, Texas. His students, curious as kids are, started to Google him, and they found out all about his cult leadership and the alleged accusations that he murdered his wife. Now, why he passed the school background check, the student's background check caused Tyler to lose his teaching job. And I think that's exactly what should have happened. I honestly believe Tyler was never an ex-gay. I think he's gay now and will always be, his faith be damned. And why put your faith into a religion that doesn't allow you to live your truth is something I will never understand. Rest in power, Bethany. Our true crime quickie comes to us from my current state of Oregon, and it happened this year. In fact, it happened the beginning of this month of July. The man murdered wasn't even gay. He was an ally who was defending his gay friend in Portland. Portland! One of the most liberal cities in this state. And this is so sad to me, that an ally lost his life due to some hateful motherfucker who couldn't keep his big mouth shut. 32-year-old Colin Smith has been described by family and friends as an animal lover and a protector. One of Colin's favorite things to do was to host dinner parties for friends. On July 1st, Colin's gay friend got off of work early, and the two went to a bar for some drinks. As the night turned into early morning, another customer of the bar, 24-year-old Ronique Jackson, began calling Colin's friend gay slurs, and he was provoking him into a fight. Colin was not okay with any of it, and he started to defend his friend. At which point, Ronique pulled a knife on Colin and he stabbed him several times. And this happened before 2 a.m. on July 2nd. Unfortunately, Colin wouldn't make it until help arrived. He was declared dead on scene. Ronique was arrested 5 days later. A grand jury has indicted him on second-degree murder, unlawful use of a weapon, and for committing a biased crime, which I believe to essentially be hate crime enhancements. Colin worked as a server at the Ox restaurant in Portland. He had dreams to own his own restaurant, or at least a food truck. He loved to cook. He had even first applied as a cook at the restaurant, but his interviewer was so impressed with his personality and the ease and comfort in which he spoke to others, the interviewer wanted Colin at the front of the restaurant instead, greeting customers. Colin was very loved in his circle of friends, and he will be missed dearly. Rest in power, Colin. Well, warriors, we're back at the Seabreeze Studio stables. I'll see you at the end of next month for our Patreon exclusive episode. By the way, there won't be a new episode from me this week. Time got away from me and I just didn't have a chance to put one together. In the meantime, remember, you matter. And it's not a crime to be gay, unless you're a murderer.